Wow, everyone's catching up from the weekend. I guess it's kind of interesting. Everyone just suddenly exploded with videos. They had things to say. So I'm going to try and quickly go through a few of these things. Andy was talking about all the inspiration he gets from nature and the activities he does, and it made me realize how relatively boring my life is, I guess. It sounds like he's done a lot of cool things, flying a plane. That was something I always wanted to do when I was younger, and I guess never enough to actually make it happen. My fiance likes skydiving and wants to make me go skydiving. My hands get sweaty every time I think about it. I want to do it because it scares me, but I don't really, I don't know, I might love it. Supposedly you love it after you do it, but, and then, Mike Kasperzak had all the cool pictures of dirt, and it made me realize I don't really spend too much time observing things in nature. I've done it before, and I really enjoyed it, where I've taken a walk and just allowed myself to, take in everything. It's tough with a camera though, because then I feel like I have to take a picture of everything, and I almost feel like I'm missing out. Like I was in Europe in March, and found myself taking pictures of a lot of things, but I had to kind of remind myself that I should probably also take everything in myself, because it'll be kind of annoying to get home, look at all the pictures, and be like, I don't even remember seeing that thing. I don't know. It just, I guess all my for the longest time, I've been working at a day job, and then I'd want to work on games at home so that I can eventually be full-time indie. And finally I just said, I'm taking too long to do this, went full-time. So by the way, Andy, I think I'm relatively newer to this than you are, because you've at least got things out there and have been doing this a little bit longer, I think. In any case, yeah, I just feel like I've been cooped up at home, not doing a lot outside, or I don't know. The way you guys talk about some of these games, it's like, okay, I've obviously missed out on a lot of things because I haven't been allowing myself to play as much. Let's see. Mike Hamill's hate on video games as a waste of time. Andy actually covered what bothered me. The use of the words waste of time. I can understand the idea that we have maybe more productive things to do as members of society, in the sense that, yeah, spaceships, curing cancer, like I mentioned in the previous video, preventing floods or detecting earthquakes, or trying to figure out tornadoes and things like that. But I think it was covered. If we don't make games, I think game design. Mike Hamill actually mentioned video games as being unnecessary, but as opposed to like other kinds of play where you can go outside and play sports or do other things. I once heard that there's a difference between taking breaks in a passive way and taking breaks in an active way. So let's say you do work as a physicist, and then you play the violin as a break. Playing the violin uses different skills and a different part of the brain than trying to figure out nuclear physics problems. But as opposed to watching TV. But even then, watching TV today is actually a lot more. It requires a lot more brain power than TV from like 50 years ago. If you've ever read Everything Bad is Good for You, I think they cover how originally TV had shows like Dragnet, where everything was very linear. You really could just, it just seemed like if I were to watch it today, I'd probably be bored to tears. I remember watching it when I was younger because it was on before Get Smart, and I loved that show. but it was just super linear. They figured the audience just wasn't going to, the mass audiences weren't going to be smart enough to figure out subtlety. And I guess modern television, which I guess was heralded, they said by 21 Jump Street, which I've never watched, or something like, or 30 something. I don't remember which one of those. And it was, you know, multiple threads of stories going through, and it just got more interesting, and it required a little bit more brain power to actually process. So TV today is, like, even watching TV, you know, where most people consider it a waste of time, is actually still doing something. Although I think games are much more superior in terms of, like, trying to get you to figure out how to do things, and teaching you, or, you know, just stimulating you for more than just, I don't know, figuring out who the next American Idol is. Anyways, let's see. Andy talked about how Steambirds came about, with having, you know, a pile of mechanics in a folder, and eventually had inspiration that struck. I thought that was pretty cool. I created I was trying for a while to create a list of game ideas where I would just come up with a name for it, and then like one-line description, and I ended up coming up with about, I don't know, almost 1,000 of them, and but a lot of them aren't just, you know, ideas could have been anything from mechanics to a story idea to, you know, just a line that, like, it really didn't tell you anything about the game, and it was almost like, okay, so now that I have this line, I have to make a game based on it, kind of like a theme, I guess. But I really should have, I don't know, I feel like I probably should, after this project, analyze all of those different ideas and try to figure out, okay, what can I make relatively quickly, because you know, I did mention before I'd like to have a game that allows people to be more expressive. Considering how long my current project is taking, I'd like to have kind of a game in between the next major project that's just, let's churn something out just to get, like, a victory real quick. And maybe I'll do that. I'll try and see if I can come up with some quick mechanic and base a game around that. Although, you know, I don't know, separate from a mechanic, what kind of inspiration counts as inspiration, because I think you can be inspired by a mechanic by itself. You know, I think Mike was talking about that. And then you guys were having this multiplayer indie conversation, which I thought was pretty cool. I guess, I don't know when that happened. That was pretty cool. But you guys are talking about in-game microtransactions and freemium, and I'll say I'm scared of it, just because I mean, there are so many different directions to go in, and I'm still working on this one project, and it's like I don't know, I just feel like, oh, freemium's a kind of new thing, maybe I should do freemium too, and I'm just like, you know what, let me just get this game finished, I'll sell it like the, you know, shareware model in the past, and move on from there. As I understand it, Angry Birds was originally, you know, you had to pay for it, and then they went to a freemium thing where they had ad-supported games, and they're still doing pretty well with that. You know, I could always change things later, but you know, the in-game microtransactions. There is a game I'm playing currently on Facebook called Little Cave Hero, and you know, that has some things where you you know, you have to build things in your town, and sometimes the buildings can take 8 hours, like 8 real-time hours, and so you're allowed to pay crowns, the in-game currency, to speed that up. And you know, I kind of like, okay, but I could wait, and that's fine. And you guys are talking about how annoying that is, but I think Andy's, you know, got a good point, though. Like, you know, setting the pace for the you know, for the player to consume all the content. Like, I could just build the thing instantly over and over again, but that I probably would get through a lot of the game much quicker than expected. In this way, I actually do have you know, an enticement to come back to it, because if I was able to just do whatever I wanted in one sitting, well, one, I wouldn't get a lot of work done. So I'm glad that they prevent me from forgetting what time it is. You know, eventually I have to stop because there's not much more I can do. I run out of energy in the game, and I could pay to boost that up, but I could also just wait until tomorrow or a few hours later for a few energy things. But I don't know. I think freemium is great because it's one less barrier to get people to play the game. But then you do have to design the game in a way that people have to pay for certain things. I don't think it's evil to pace people through your game. I do think that it's different from how people expect games to be. Like, you get the game and you have access to everything. I remember back in an old issue of Nintendo Power, people were complaining about all the unlocks for like GoldenEye or some other game like that, where you had to get through a level as fast as you can, and then if you beat a certain time, then you unlock something else. And somebody was complaining, well, I bought this game, don't I get access to all this stuff? Why do I have to do all this extra, jump through hoops to get access to these things? And I don't know, it's kind of like the same thing. You don't automatically get a million point score in Space Invaders. You have to actually work for it. And I mean, there are just other incentives and other scores, so to say. And then in-game microtransactions to help with that. I don't know. I agree that there are crappy ways to do it, but I do like that Phil was pushing the discussion, trying to figure out, okay, what's the good in it so that you don't do evil but can still leverage it in a useful way. So thanks for the great conversation, and I don't have anything else in my notes, and I'm sure this video has gone on long enough, so have fun.